Hello, this is Anthony David Hobbs, AD Hobbs, and this is my review of the movie Jaws 2. Well, first of all, I better apologise that this room has bad lighting, but, it's winter, it's a bad lighting day. And I've got a bit of blood on my chin. Well, that's because I had a shave and accidentally cut myself in. Anyway, get to the point. The point is, Jaws 2 was made in 1978 by Universal, 3 years after the first Jaws movie. But I think I should point out it's set 5 years after the first one, even though it was just made 3 years later. So that explains why Brody's son, Michael, was about 11 or 12. Now suddenly he's about 17. So yes, 5 years have passed. And yes, when I first saw Jaws 2, I was almost 8 years old. And yes, I loved it. I thought it was amazing, spectacular film. But looking back over the years, I have mixed feelings. I mean, it is still very good, a worthy sequel, but there are a few bits and pieces that could have been done a bit better. So I'll say good things and bad things about the film. And there will probably be some spoilers in this review. Roy Schneider, the actor that played Sheriff Brody, he didn't really want to do a sequel because he thought it might ruin it. The first one was so perfect, but eventually he was persuaded. Because you see, when the first one was made, Universal had no intention of doing a sequel. They just thought everything had been done, so it ended on a bang, that's it, But because it was so unbelievably successful, they thought, well, we're going to have to do a sequel, And it pulled off, yeah. Jaws 2 was a blockbuster. It made a lot of money. Not quite as much as the first one, but still, yeah, a very worthy sequel, yeah. And I'm glad they didn't make the mistake a lot of sequels make, which is make it too similar to the first one. No, we do see some different shark attacks this time. Yeah, they do expand the story a bit. We see different things, like, well, the most obvious example is water skiing. We didn't see any water skiing in the first one. Somebody gets attacked water skiing. And in fact, that's on the poster for the movie. A lady's water skiing, blissfully unaware the big great white shark is following her. And the great white shark has that same pose of its mouth open, its scary teeth, except instead of under the water, it's out of the water, So it's a bit of a pun on the pose from the first one. The lady skiing in the poster, she has two skis, whereas in the film, the water skier is on one ski. The lady's wearing a bikini in the poster, whereas in the film, she's wearing a wetsuit. So, but in the 1970s, I don't think they really cared about inaccuracies like that. And, oh yes, the poster for Jaws 2 has quite a famous tagline. It says, "Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water." Yeah, so, yes, that tagline has been parodied and imitated a few times. And, oh yes, when I was a boy, I thought the great white shark had sticky seaweed all on the side of his face, like that. But no. The reason why it's all black over his face here is because in the movie, the water skier gets eaten, and then the lady that was driving the boat, the motorboat, the shark tries to kill her, and because he's so strong, he can smash through the wood and everything. She attempts to kill it by burning its face with fire, which works. Half its face is burned. Then she accidentally blows the boat up, Well, she wasn't thinking straight. She didn't think, get rid of the damn thing, So that's why he has a big scar, because his face has been burned. Is it left side or the right side? Well, anyway. And so yeah, that's a bit different. We see Jaws attack a helicopter, one of those ones that has inflatable stands. So yes, because he's so strong, he can pull it down into the water. Yeah. So yes, we do see some things that are different. Oh yes, a bit of trivia. There's a character called Tina, played by a beautiful blonde lady. And when I was almost 8, when I first saw the film, I had a girlfriend called Tina. So yes, how apt. Yes, I associated the name Tina with a lovely girlfriend. So yeah. And the actress that played Tina, very beautiful to look at in the film, gorgeous blonde. She was in fact 26 when the film was made, and she plays a young girl of about 17. Now the reason for this, back in the 70s, or still now, Hollywood still does this now, they get people that are not teenagers, that are well into their 20s, but they're baby faced, they look a lot younger. And the reason they do that is because, well, if you're under 18, you can still be in a film so long as it doesn't interfere with your schooling, because by law you have to go to school certain hours. So it's very awkward to make the film like that. But if you're over 18 or in your 20s, you can work 24/7. Yes, there is no limit to how long you can work for. So that's why they do it. They still do it now in TV and films, have teenagers that are not really teenagers, they just look like they are. Anyway, okay, some of the things I didn't like about Jaws 2. Well, Sheriff Brody, he's all on his own. And, you know, there's no one to help him. Nobody believes him when he warns people about this killer shark, you know. So it's very lonesome, you know. In the first one, we have this real buddy feeling, you know, him and his two comrades, you know, Quint and Hooper, you know, they're all helping each other out, you know, all for one and one for all, you know, they fight to the finish. This real great feel-good factor buddy feeling, you know. Whereas Brody's very much on his own. He has to carry this film all on his own, you know. And okay, they couldn't have Hooper in it because the actor didn't want to do the sequel or he wasn't available. And obviously couldn't have Quint back because he was killed in the first one, the character was killed. But couldn't they have introduced two new characters, you know, so we could have had this great buddy feeling, but no, that's it. Roy Schneider pretty much has to carry this film on his own. And of course nobody believes him when he warns them about this killer shark. He rings the bell in the shark tower, a really big you can see the shark coming. He rings the bell, get out of the water, you know, the shark tower. And it's not really a shark, it's a school of bluefish, but from a distance that looks like it could be a huge big animal in the sea. Oh yes, the mayor of Amity firmly doesn't believe there's a great white shark. Why then is there a shark tower? Where did that come from? Yes. Oh yes, and speaking of bloopers, here's two more little bloopers for you. And in Jaws 2, there's a load of divers under the water. Not at the beginning. No, I'm talking about the bit that's in the middle. And I don't think any of them are killed, but one of them sees Jaws up close, you know, and he's absolutely terrified. Goes to the surface really fast, and he has trouble breathing with his lungs from decompression. Because apparently, if you're a scuba diver, it's ill-advisable to go up that fast because you get decompression in the lungs, so you can't breathe right for a while. But in Jaws 4, one of the characters underwater goes up to the surface really fast. He doesn't have decompression. He's okay, you know. Another example, in Jaws 2, we don't have Hooper, but we briefly do see an ocean expert, an oceanographer. And Chief Brody says to her, "You don't think if one shark was killed, another one would come back for revenge?" And she says, "Sharks don't take things personally. You know, no, great whites do not take revenge. That's silly." Well, if a shark taking revenge is silly, why is that the basis for Jaws 4? It's called Jaws the Revenge. Yeah. So, in a way, without realising it, Jaws 2 is pointing out two bloopers in Jaws 4. So, a bit silly, yeah. And also at the middle of the film. At the middle of the film, the pace is getting much slower. And it gets a bit boring, you know. It's very slow pace. Get on with it, get on with the story, you know. So that's a bit dull. But the last 40 minutes of the film is like a thrill ride, like a roller coaster ride. The speed of the film, the pace, speeds up much quicker, you know. So that makes up for that. So that's good, yeah. And yes, Jaws 2, good worthy sequel. Yeah, not as good as the first one, but you know, good enough. And I'm glad that they kill the shark in a different way to the way they did in the first one. So yeah, that's good. They you know, it would just be silly if they killed it in the exact same way. And it ends with a bang, ends with a climax. Yeah. And we have the first half of the film is very much like the first one. You know, we see the returning actors from the first one, the Deputy Hendricks, the Mayor Murray Vaughan, I think he's called. And as well as obviously Lorraine Gary, the sheriff's wife, and everything. So yes, it feels like a Jaws movie again, yeah. And oh yes, at the very beginning, literally the very beginning, we have two divers both get eaten by the shark. I mean, we don't see the shark properly, but they imply it, so it's pretty obvious if you're a Jaws fan what's happened. And but before dying, one of the divers quickly takes a split-second photo. You know, I don't think on purpose, by accident. He accidentally takes the photo and then gets knocked out by the shark. Anyway, when I first saw the film, I thought, wait a minute. If someone took a photograph, people will have to believe it. Because in the first one, nobody believes there's a killer. Well, they have to believe it now because we've seen a photograph of it. And I'm sure the audience who saw the film thought that when it came out. But halfway through the film, we see the photograph. But it's a very awkward angle of the shark. We only see like half of its eye and like a bit of the outline of its mouth. But the others say, what is this? Is it seaweed, mud, underwater? It's nothing, you know. And Sheriff says, no, that's a shark. I know what a shark looks like. I've seen one up close. That is definitely a shark. There's no question about it. That's what killed them, you know. But the others don't believe him. The photo's at an awkward angle, and it's sort of symbolic. You know, people see what they want to see, or they believe what they want to believe. Yeah. And for the last 40 minutes of the film, the main focus is on teenagers. You know. And teenagers were not a big thing in the first one. The last 40 minutes feels like a teen's horror movie almost, yeah. Only not quite as gory, you know. But then, hey, what's wrong with that? It's a bit different. You know, if it was too similar to the sequel, it would look silly. So I had no problems with the main ones being teenagers. Oh, and they take a little boy with them. That's Michael's younger brother, because he says, if you don't take me, I'll tell Mum and Dad you're bunking off work. Well, no. His dad doesn't want to. It's not bunking off work. His dad has told him no more sailing until this problem is sorted. But of course, the two sons don't believe there's a shark. They appreciate their father for the warning, but they think, what does he know? You know, and then they both almost get killed by the shark. One shot I love in the film is when Michael's knocked unconscious. He's in the water, out of the boat, been knocked out. The shark is about to eat him. His friends manage to pull him out just in time. And the shark whizzes past the boat, zooms past the boat, and only its mouth open just misses him. That is a really cool shot. Yeah, they're that close to death, you know, yeah. So it is scary and exciting, yeah. Oh, and a bit of symbolism here. When Jaws came out, it was huge, massive success, and of course other filmmakers wanted to jump on the bandwagon. There was the movie Piranha. There was a movie called Tentacles, all about a killer octopus, you know. There was that movie Warlords of Atlantis, and, well, that's a very aquatic story. Yeah, so they're all jumping on the bandwagon, trying to cash in on the success. We need an aquatic thriller. There was the movie Alligator was made because of the success of Jaws, you know. And, oh yes, there was a movie The Deep, which is more about treasure hunting as opposed to getting killed by dangerous animals. But, again, it's aquatic, a very aquatic story. The Deep was written by Peter Benchley, the man that wrote the original Jaws. So everyone was trying to cash in on the success of Jaws, including the creator of Jaws. So yes, yeah, if you can't imitate your own ideas, then whose can you imitate? Yeah, everyone was after it. And in 1977, so 1 year before Jaws 2, a movie called Orca, Killer Whale came out. Obviously trying to imitate the success of Jaws. About a killer whale that goes around attacking people. Is it good? Not really, no. It's good for a laugh. It's good if your expectations are very low. But it's a shame, because it did have some very good actors in it. Yeah, but no, Orca Killer Whale is like the poor man's Jaws. It's a really terrible movie. However, there is this. At the beginning of the movie Orca, literally the very beginning, we see a great white shark. And then we don't actually see it, but they imply something's killed the shark. And someone says, who did that? Who killed the great white shark? And the oceanographer says, there's only one animal in the world that could do that, a killer whale. And then we cut to a killer whale, so it's sort of symbolic. It's saying, this movie is way better than Jaws. Yeah, a killer whale could kill a great white shark. Well, in Jaws 2, we see the remains of a dead killer whale beached on the sea, and a massive chunk at the side has been bitten off. Yeah, been bitten out of its body, obviously by Jaws. Jaws has killed a killer whale. Now, could this be because Jaws 2 was saying to the makers of the Orca film, how dare you imply that yours is better than ours? Yeah, a great white shark is way better than a killer whale. Sort of symbolic, saying our franchise destroys your film. Yeah. On the other hand, it could be coincidence. Maybe it's not symbolic, just a coincidence. Yeah, but you can interpret it however you see fit. Yeah. And I guess we learn a few more things about sharks. They're not just attracted to blood and thrashing about. Sometimes sound attracts their attention. Yeah. Anyway, oh, that's my alarm gone off. That means I'm out of time. Okay. Anyway, so in other words, yes, everyone was trying to cash on the success of the first Jaws movie, including the Jaws franchise. They decided to do a sequel. It's not as good as the first one, but it is a worthy sequel, yes. A great thrill ride. I enjoyed it when I was a kid and still love it now. So if you haven't seen Jaws 2, I'd recommend it. Okay, that's enough from me, and take care.